Today's episode is brought to you by our lead sponsor, Safe House Project. Hey, this is Joe at The Pour Over.
And this is Zan at The Pour Over.
Today, we're talking about the U.S. ramping up its war on drugs in the Caribbean, President Trump announcing an additional 10% tariff on Canada in response to a World Series commercial, suspects in the Louvre Heist being arrested, and other top news for Monday, October 27th. Stay informed while remaining focused on Christ with The Pour Over.
Here's your quote of the day. We live by faith in a prayer-hearing, soul-converting, soul-sanctifying, soul-restoring, soul-comforting God. Francis Asbury. Let's get started with some espresso shots.
The U.S. is ramping up its war on drugs. Friday, War Secretary Hegseth ordered the Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group, comprised of the world's largest aircraft carrier and 3 destroyers, to the Caribbean to, quote, bolster U.S. capacity to detect, monitor, and disrupt criminal organizations. The carrier was redirected from the Mediterranean, bringing along dozens of fighter jets. The move follows several recent lethal U.S. airstrikes on suspected smuggling boats. It also turns up the pressure on Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolás Maduro. In response to the deployment, Venezuela's defense minister said the country is conducting military drills to guard its coast against possible U.S., quote, covert operations. Meanwhile, the Trump admin sanctioned Colombian President Gustavo Petro and family, accusing them of enabling drug cartels, as Washington claims Colombian cocaine production has exploded, quote, to the highest rate in decades. Christians should be committed to praying for world leaders to be wise and to work towards peaceful resolutions, while simultaneously placing our hope in God, not government. 1 Timothy 2, verses 1 through 2 says, First of all, then, I urge that petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings be made for everyone, for kings and all those who are in authority, so that we may lead a tranquil and quiet life in all godliness and dignity.
A contentious commercial that ran during the World Series has the U.S. and Canada in a trade pickle. An ad by the Ontario government featured clips from a 1987 radio address by then-President Ronald Reagan saying that, quote, over the long run, tariffs hurt every American worker and consumer. Thursday, President Trump canceled trade negotiations with Canada over the ad. Ontario leaders promised to pause the commercial to resume talks, but still aired the ad during Friday's game to, quote, initiate a conversation about the impact of tariffs. Uncle Sam thought it was a swing and a miss. Saturday, Trump announced an additional 10% tariff on Canadian goods, saying, quote, that's dirty playing, but I can play dirtier. Meanwhile, the Ronald Reagan Foundation is calling foul. The organization is lawyering up, claiming Canada, quote, misrepresented Reagan and used his speech without permission. Here's a verse to consider whether you're interacting with your international neighbors or your next-door neighbors. Jesus answered, the most important is, listen, Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, with all your strength. The second is, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other command greater than these. Mark 12, verses 29 through 31.
Police have reportedly arrested 2 men in connection with last week's brazen mid-morning Louvre heist targeting France's crown jewels. Last Sunday, a hooded quartet took less than 8 minutes to enter the world's most visited museum through a window, steal jewels worth an estimated $102 million, plus incalculable historical value, and escape on scooters. Then Saturday night, police arrested 2 suspects, one of whom was about to board a plane to Algeria. According to a Parisian newspaper, officials ID'd the men, both in their 30s and known for past robberies, through DNA found at the scene. Cops believe they were hired to pull off the job. Prosecutors haven't confirmed the arrest details or whether the jewels had been recovered, saying leaked details, quote, can only hinder the race to find other suspects, the operation's mastermind, and the heister's haul. Imitating our just and merciful Father, followers of Christ root for justice while retaining love for all parties, both the accused and the accusers, desiring restoration, not revenge. Isaiah 30, verse 18 says, "The Lord is waiting to show you mercy, and is rising up to show you compassion, for the Lord is a just God. All who wait patiently for him are happy." Human trafficking isn't just an over-there problem, it's happening right here in the U.S. An estimated 300,000 people are being trafficked in America right now, and most were first sold as children. Even when they get a chance to run, sometimes there's no safe way out, and they get pulled right back in. Safe House Project is helping children get to safety and stay there by equipping communities to spot trafficking and funding urgent escapes. They cover what's needed in those crucial moments: a way to escape, shelter, and resources for lasting freedom. Trafficking in the U.S. is at crisis levels, and requests for help to escape are higher than ever. Just $40 provides a safe ride that takes a child from captivity to freedom. Safe House Project can't miss the moment when a child is ready to escape, and your gift makes sure they don't. Give a child the way out. Go to safehouseproject.org/TPO or check the link in the show notes to give now.
In other brews, here's a rapid round of updates. Inflation's still inflating, but not as much as expected. A report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, released 10 days late due to the government shutdown, showed that inflation reached 3% in September, up from 2.9% in August. Gas prices, which experienced a 4.1% jump, were the biggest contributor. Though beef prices continue to move on up, overall food prices rose just 0.2%.
New York Attorney General Letitia James pleaded not guilty Friday to federal mortgage fraud charges in Virginia. She accused the Trump admin of turning the justice system into a, quote, tool of revenge after President Trump reportedly pressed the DOJ to bring the case. Prosecutors say she misrepresented details on a Norfolk, Virginia home loan to get better financial terms. A once mystery but now identified donor picked up the Pentagon's tab. Thursday night, President Trump announced a $130 million gift from a, quote, patriot and friend would go towards troops' pay during the shutdown. The giver has been identified by the New York Times as, quote, reclusive billionaire Timothy Mellon, a major Trump backer. Legal experts warn the donation could violate the Anti-Deficiency Act, which bars using unappropriated funds. The Caribbean is bracing for Hurricane Melissa. The storm strengthened to a Category 4 yesterday, putting Jamaica under a hurricane warning and parts of Cuba and Haiti under a watch. Melissa is expected to bring days of catastrophic flooding and winds and could be Jamaica's strongest in 35-plus years, potentially reaching a Category 5 before making landfall later today. President Trump is dancing into a 6-day trade tour through Asia. First up, in Malaysia, he presided over a peace deal ceremony between Cambodia and Thailand before signing trade and critical minerals agreements with the three countries. After a meeting with Japan's new prime minister later this week, Trump will negotiate tariffs with China's President Xi in South Korea. That's all we have for today. Thanks so much for listening, TPO fam. If you're listening on the Apple Podcasts app, give us a 5-star rating and drop a review. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a follow and hit the notification bell to never miss a new episode. We're grateful for your support and hope you have an awesome day. Catch you on Wednesday.
My pantry stays stocked with Element. I drink it, my husband drinks it, my kids guzzle it. Basically, we run on Element around here. No sugar, no crashes, just the science-backed ratio of electrolytes we need to stay sharp. Plus, it makes drinking water a lot more enjoyable and delicious. If you haven't tried it yet, you're missing out. As a listener of The Pour Over, you'll get a free 8-pack of Element's most popular drink mix flavors with any drink mix purchase. Just use the Element link in the show notes.